Hey Scrappy Peeps, Suzanna here today to share with you a layout I created for Cocoa Daisy using the August kits. This is the layout and I created it using some of the Day in the Life kit as well as some pieces from the main kit. This is a picture of my family and I on a vacation at the end of the summer last year, and the inspiration for this layout was the stamp that said last days of summer, because we usually have to bump up our vacation to the end of summer thanks to our year-round swim schedule. So we are underground doing a mine tour, and so I thought that by having a black header and footer to the page, it sort of mimicked the underground feel. I really liked that black card with the circle in the middle too, because it sort of made me think of the light off of the headlamps with the hard helmets that we were wearing, the construction helmets. So I went with this pink, black and white theme, and I converted the picture to black and white. We had very many different color shirts on, and underground it was hard to get a nice crisp shot, so by converting it to black and white I was able to get a better effect of the picture that I wanted. So I just used this piece of pattern paper from Fancy Pants, and I created that black header and footer. I wanted the page to be at an angle, and so I cut the pattern paper to have coordinating angles, heavier on top and a little bit lighter on bottom. And you can see those are the two Day in the Life cards from the Cocoa Daisy kit that I coordinated to go with this collection. There wasn't a lot of pink in the collection, so you'll see later on that I do pull out a gelato and some water and create my own card that I also then use the stamp that I mentioned previously on. So this is from Kaiser Crafts in the kit, and I thought some of those words would be fun. The pinks aren't quite the right pink as that pattern paper, so I chose mostly the elements that had black in them, although there is one that says hello that is of a similar pink tone, so I do cut that apart as well. There's lots of great embellishments that you can use on this cut apart sheet. They make some great sayings. Kelly has a page that she's done also on a grid and also on an angle based off of the sketch for this month, and she's used a bunch of these cut aparts for their sayings. I wanted to use more, I just couldn't find a way to make them work on this particular layout. So I've cut out hello, and I've cut out that long strip there that says this is what it's all about. And I'm looking for, I really like it on the top there. It adds some weight to the page and moves your eye down the page. However, I do move it as I add another element to make way for a different element. So from the print and cut files and the ephemera exclusives and the ephemera that came from Fancy Pants, I pulled out everything that was black, white, and pink, and you see that in that little pile there that I'll go through in a little bit once I finish making this other 4x3 card. So I just cut down some watercolor paper to 4x3. I pull out my tub of gelatos, and I wet the watercolor paper first, and then find the pink that coordinates best with this, and I basically just do an ombre of that same color. Some of it's thicker than others, and I put a little bit more color in just for some heaviness in the middle there, because I knew that that's where I was going to stamp. And because I want to use this right away and I'm impatient and I knew I wanted to stamp as well, I do pull out my heat gun and I'm going to dry that. I also like the way that with the heat gun it pushes the color around a little bit, and I like that effect. So I'll get out the stamp from the main kit and stamp with black VersaFine ink. It's going to say last days of summer, which is a perfect little touch for this layout. It adds a little bit more pink, but it also keeps that black and that white in there. Now I have the 4 main elements that I want: the picture, the 2 day in the life cards that come with the kit, as well as the card that I painted myself. And I put them in a little bit of a grid, but I put the grid on the diagonal, and I coordinate that diagonal with the diagonal of the header and the footer that I've cut on the angle for that main background piece there. And now it's just time to play with the ephemera pieces that I've gathered and coordinate them with my page. I thought I might have stamped in the middle of that black circle, but I didn't actually find a stamp that was going to work for me or that I liked, and so I'm just going to shuffle these bits and pieces around. I thought that camera looked perfect in the circle, and then for a little bit of color I have that print and cut file, and you can see where I've moved that long black strip that says this is what it's all about down to the bottom there. Again, all of these ephemera pieces are just the pink, black, and white pieces. I did pull in a little bit of yellow just for a splash of added color. I like when you pull in that contrasting color, how it just sort of pops everything. So I've committed to the placement of these, and I'm just going to use my ruler to kind of square that off a little bit. I'm not usually worried about precision precisely, but when I'm putting it on an angle and I do want those angles to coordinate, I did use the ruler just to generally make sure that everything is lined up. And then that tall card there just for a little bit of variation. That today arrow is from the subscriber exclusive cut files. And the label there I did pop up just for a little bit of added effect and some dimension to the page. You will see I take a very fine, I think this is a 0.01 pen, precision pen from American Crafts, and just outlined that for that little added touch of black. The tab up the top and the locator right there. And I like that, but I also find that I've got a fairly heavy space at the bottom of the page there, and so I decide that I really like that bow. While there's nothing very feminine about being underground, the black and white works, and it fills up that space nicely and adds a little bit more contrast too. So here are the exclusive puffy stickers, and you'll see where I use that arrow on the right hand side beside the picture has a little splash of yellow in it, and then I'll use some stars to coordinate. The other puffy sticker up the top there, and that says Summer Stories, which also works really well with this picture because this was our summer vacation. So you can see I moved that, that pinky red element that says documented. It was also from the cut apart. I moved that above the today, and then I put another arrow so that I had a series of arrows that were pointing to the picture. And in a minute, I'm going to pull this locator off, try and find a new home for it, and fail, but I like these puffy stars, and it afforded me the ability to use another bit of yellow just so that I have 3 splashes of yellow, the arrow on the right, the star, and then the yellow that's in that little puffy sticker up the top there that says Summer Stories, that's plaid. And so that is the bulk of the elements that I'm going to put on this layout. I adhere this down, and you'll see in a minute that I am going to get a pen and put a pen to that long element. But in the meanwhile, I use these Evilicious stickers to make the title, and the title says Mine Tour because that's what we were doing. We were in Nevada, in Richmond City of all places, and just put that title on there. And then I'm going to get out my puffy stickers once again because I want something around that stamped image there, but then decide that it looks better at the bottom right there. So those are all the main elements. I do journal in that card, and here's the souffle pen. I just use this pink souffle pen to outline that black element, and again, just to add a little added touch of pink because there wasn't much pink in this collection. And that is going to call it a wrap on this layout. In a minute, there are a couple of close-ups to follow. If you enjoyed this process, I'd love a thumbs up. If you don't subscribe, I'd love to have you join me for some more videos. I do a lot of Cocoa Daisy videos, some sketch videos, some collaborations, and just a good old scrappy time here on my YouTube channel. Thanks for stopping in today. Hope you're doing well.